Heal me. Show me the way.
Show me the way.
I need your help. Pick me up. You see, I know I'm imperfect, but I know that I'm worth it. And every day I've been searching for an end to this hurting. I know I'm here for a reason, so I'm searching for meaning, and I'm ready for your teaching. So I'm here for the healing, and I know sickness exists in the mind, and the more I seek I will find different ways to untie these binds. As I know I have made mistakes in the past, and this situation won't last, cause another one's approaching it fast. Love is the answer, healing's the task. Show me the path of a healer, teach me the ways of a shaman. Help me to feed all your children, show me how to water your garden. Show me the path of a healer. Teach me the ways of a shaman. Help me to feed all your children. Your children, show me how to water your garden. And heal me, guide me, show me the way. Heal me, guide me, show me the way. See, I know I'm imperfect, but I know that I'm worth it. And every day I've been searching for an end to this hurting. I know I'm here for a reason.
What's the reason?
So I'm searching for meaning,
Tell me the meaning.
and I'm ready for your teaching.
For your
So I'm
teaching.
here for the healing, and I know sickness exists in the mind. And the more I seek I will find different ways to untie these binds. As I know I have made mistakes in the past, this situation won't last, cause another one's approaching it fast. Love is the answer, healing's the task. Show me the path of a healer, teach me the ways of a shaman. Help me to feed all your children, show me how to water your garden. Show me the path of a healer, teach me the ways of a shaman. Help me to feed all your children, show me how to water your garden. Heal me, guide me, show me the way. Heal me, guide me, show me the way.
and good morning, and warmest of welcomes to everybody. Welcome to Charmain Berry on the telly. Today's day is Saturday, the 8th of August, 2020. And I just want to say a big thank you to Marv Radio, who's just played us in there. This is his latest single that he's only released this week. Marv was a guest on our show a few months ago now, and I really recommend you check out his work. I think this is his new single, Heal Me. Thank you to everybody who's been in touch this week as well. Last week's show was amazing, and this week's will be no different as well. I have got two wonderful guests, as always. I have joining me shortly Christina Batty, and we're really excited because Christina has been doing the Mayan calendar report for us every week now, so it's great to actually have her on the couch and find out more about her work and more about the Mayan calendar as well. I'm also going to be joined by Angel Burns, who's a rising star talent, and she's going to be sharing with us her journey of this really unique face painting and healing journey that she's been on. So that's coming up later on. We've also got our regular cookery spot. This week we have Braden from Eastern Bloc, and he's showing us how to make scrambled eggs. So all of this is coming up later on. So that leads me to introduce our first guest for today, which is Christina Batty. Christina, welcome to On the Couch this time.
Hey.
Absolutely. Nice to see you, darling. So,
Yeah,
Christina, I'm just going to read out a little bit about you, and I have your bio here. So, because you've done so much stuff. So, Christina has co-created with her partner, Daniel Helenko, who's great guy, and they created Human 5.0, which has been a program that you've been running over last year and this year, and that's supporting leaders to expand consciousness. And also you are trained in the Yoga Vedantic traditions as a Sattva yoga teacher. You're also an initiated earth keeper, and you're also being guided to learn about the galactic Mayan calendar, which is what we're going to explore a little bit more today. You've also co-authored a book, You Are a Genius, and you're editing your second edition of your book, which is You Too Can Bloom, which is a simple guide for personal awakening process to thrive with grace and ease. That sounds good. And you're also trained in internal family systems, Sattva yoga, quantum liberation, emotional freedom technique, neuro-linguistic programming, access consciousness, Yuzui Reiki. And you're also an avid researcher of the power of the mind and consciousness. So you've trained in some really powerful healing modalities there, Christina. Yeah. So hi, darling. How did all this start for you? I take it you were just an ordinary girl getting on with life, doing what we do, and then what happened? So what sort of led you into this journey?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, knowing that I was coming on today of, where did it all begin? And I think the root cause for me was meeting Daniel. Like, he was just completely, totally different from anybody I'd ever met before. And that was 10 years ago. Yeah. To the point where I was like, why do I like this guy? He's completely different from anything that I'd ever experienced before, but maybe that was why, right? And then very quickly, he went on a personal development journey. Within the first year of us meeting, he started to go and see Tony Robbins and T. Harv Eker and Blair Singer and all these big names. And I kind of quickly realized that I needed to step into that or I was going to get left behind. So reluctantly, because I had parts in my system that did not want to change, that were quite happy being mediocre and just like, living a life that I didn't really love, but, it was okay. But then I stepped into that space and doing firewalks and all sorts of crazy stuff that they get you to do to break through your limiting beliefs. And that just took me on this epic journey that very slowly culminated. I mean, when I met Daniel, I was living in London. I was running a recruitment office. Wow. I've been working in recruitment for like 7-8 years. I was at management level and ran a really successful team. And, like money and success and all that kind of stuff was more on my priority list at that time, for sure. And then going into that space, it wasn't necessarily, because a lot of that is still driven at success and money and all of that kind of stuff. But what really started to pull at my strings was this concept of human potential and the fact that we are the creator of our existence and our life and our reality. And that really awoke something deep within me, I think. And it was like the core message that every single one of those teachers, whichever angle they were coming at it from, were letting affirmations and, all of these things that it was like the secret source of life that, oh, okay, so I can be whoever I want to be. And
Mm,
that awoke this obsession in me. Um, and I would call it an obsession. It was like it became my life to understand what that meant.
mhm.
And the internet was a great tool, and YouTube, and like spirit science. I don't know if you ever watched Spirit Science. I don't know if you've ever come across Spirit
No, I
Science, but
haven't seen that.
it's like
Mhm.
this great little cartoon thing on YouTube that goes through understanding consciousness and sacred geometry and crystals, and it's just like a really comprehensive little guide. And reading loads of books and just really dropping into it, and went on that journey for many years. And then I think it was 2015 that it really ramped up. And at that point, it was like I'd seen lots of therapists in different modalities to start to understand myself better and to
Mhm.
unpick the all my limiting beliefs and all my insecurities and all my not being enough and scared of being seen and like the whole raft of stuff that was
Mhm.
underneath or right on the surface rather of me actually being
Mhm.
who I was capable of being. Um, but then in 2015, it was like I don't know how to explain it. It was like something shifted. It was like the universe began to speak to me,
Mhm.
um, and at that point, I decided like Christmas 2015 that 2016 was going to be all about me, and I was going to get myself a coach, and I was going to really do it properly. So that's what I did, and she was an amazing woman called Shelley, and she, as within a couple of times of meeting, she was like, "You need to write a book." And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me? Just no way." And she was like, "That's what needs to happen. You need to write a book." So I went on this journey of writing You Too Can Bloom, and yeah, I wrote the book, and then literally did one post on Facebook, and then ran away to Thailand for 2 months to just go and like hide in monasteries and stuff. Because I'd written the book, but I just wasn't strong enough to hold it. It was like
Mhm.
I couldn't actually tell anybody that I'd written a book because I was still too scared of being seen,
Mhm.
and embarrassed that the content wasn't good enough and all of that stuff. Um, and then I got back and just started magical people just started coming into my life, and we met, and then you introduced me to internal family systems. So like something just spoke within me that you need to go and do that training. So I did, and not to be a therapist, just for my own journey.
Mhm.
Um, and that's every training that I've done has been that. It's just been just how can I step more into this? How can I explore this deeper?
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, so it's just, I mean, it's
Wow.
such a huge, I mean, like it's such a huge thing
Mhm.
when you're going through that journey. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just felt like something was awoken within me within the personal development work that made me realize that I can be whoever I want to be, and my thoughts create my reality. And John Kehoe is one of my dearest teachers. I love him so much, and that's all he teaches is the power of the mind. And then it's just been a case of unraveling that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's been quite a journey for sure.
There's kind of like the kind of waking up, or we hear this being said quite a lot, but the
Yeah,
realization that we create our reality and that we've got all this potential. So the
yeah,
realization that, and then the journey of like, oh, and how do I access it, and how do I let other people see it, and how do I
yeah,
step into that? And you've worked
yeah,
really hard, Christina, like really, going out there and researching and training and finding out what that means for you, because that's different things for different people. It doesn't,
of
it's
course.
not just sort of one pathway or one
Yeah.
linear journey. It's yeah, it's different and individual to us all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's why I think that it is like following the whispers. Like that's what Daniel and
Mm,
I call it. It's like
I love
it's
that.
tuning into that voice within that says, you need to go do your internal family systems training. Like not everybody would get that feeling, it's
Mhm.
just but there was something within that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was on a deep meditation retreat, and I just got this really strong sense that my body needs to be stronger. So I need to go do my yoga training. And it was like, next thing I know, I'm in India at the foothills of the Himalayas doing myself a yoga teacher training. But again, I didn't do it to be a yoga teacher. I did it
Mm-hmm.
because I was told to do it. And
Yeah.
so it's just following that, following the whispers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I just love that frame. And actually
Right.
the book that we co-authored, so Daniel and I did a chapter together, and that's what we called it, was Follow the Whispers. Because it's
Wow.
just about dropping into deep intuition. And whenever we have like a really big decision, we just put it to spirit and just do whatever we're told, which is scary and liberating, both at the
Mm-hmm.
same time.
Yeah, just letting like the life flow work through you and guide you. And you just mentioned that word there, which is intuition.
Yeah,
And the I think the importance, it's the importance of being able to tune into that as that kind of inner compass
yeah,
and guide. And that takes some getting used to, because we've got this kind of other ego energy as well that might be like, oh no,
yeah,
we can't do that, you're going to be whatever, you're going to be judged, and all these sort of things that we fear, coming from that other kind of fear
yeah.
frequency. But tuning into the intuition, is there a way that can be like developed? Is there a kind of a practice, or how do we know? Because I hear this a lot. A lot of people ask me this, like, how do I know the difference? How
Yeah.
do I know what's intuition, or being led by the divine, or whatever you want to call it, and what's fear and what's ego, and how do we know which to trust?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like a really somatic feeling in the body. And it's, and very often it's the complete opposite of what I want to do.
Okay.
And, it's like the concept of me going and doing my yoga training, as an example, that wasn't something I wanted to do. Like, I like to do a bit of yoga and I've done it for a long time, but I wasn't a committed student that was like, right, this is my next step. It was like the concept of it terrified me.
Mm,
So I think sometimes it's that, and just trusting in that.
yeah.
Because very often what our liberation is on the opposite end of the fear. It's on the other side of the fear. It's like, if we can just step through that and
Hmm.
surrender, then in that moment magic can occur.
Mm,
But for me, in terms of actually cultivating my connection to my intuition, it's just been a gradual journey of doing my own inner work, connecting with myself each and every single day. I have a
mhm.
really robust morning practice. And
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that, because
yeah,
yeah,
and
you're very committed to it, and it feels
yeah,
like it's a very important thing.
yeah, and it has been for anchoring in to how I need to show up on that day.
Okay.
Um, and then just naturally, it just started to emerge for me, because looking back, I can see that as a child, I had strong intuition.
Hmm.
Like, things happened in my life that I knew happened, and I wasn't even there. I wasn't present, but I knew all of the details of exactly what had gone on. And then I'd shut it down through not listening to it. So it's kind of, then, as I started to unravel the parts of me that were in fear and doubt and less than, and all of those stories that are so common for all of us, once
Yeah.
they started to dissolve a little bit and loosen, then it was this voice within could begin to emerge. Um, and sometimes it's so strong I can't ignore it. Like with the Mayan calendar, for example, like, it's like this excitement burst out of me that was just, I mean, I can be quite excitable, but it was just like nothing I'd experienced. It was like my
Mm-hmm.
spirit was so excited that I was going to go and learn about the Mayan calendar. So yeah, it's like sometimes it's totally, you just can't ignore it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
So excitement's a good indicator.
Excitement's a good indicator, yeah. And just this knowing, that's how it shows up for me. I can't speak obviously for anybody else, but for me, it's just like, this is what needs to happen next.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just being committed to yourself and your practice, and just doing the inner work has, for
Yeah.
me, really allowed those. that connection to self, because that's what it is, isn't it? Ultimately, it's connecting to that higher self within us that's guiding you on your pathway of where you need to be.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So thank you. You just mentioned, and we'll come back to that and talk about that in a little bit more detail in a little while. But you just mentioned the Mayan calendar, the galactic Mayan calendar,
Yeah.
and you're going to do the reading for us live this week, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Can we just talk a little bit? I mean, I'm intrigued. Like, who are the Mayans? Like, what is this calendar? How does it sort of fit into us? How does it fit into astrology? And can you tell us a little bit more about what it actually is?
Yeah, okay. So I'm about like 3.5 years into my journey with the Galactic Mayan calendar. So I
Hmm.
would by no means say that I'm like an expert, right? From my understanding, the Mayan calendar is an ancient civilization of the Americas. So it's like central down to the north, south, South America.
Hmm.
And they existed and they were known for their, very much like the Egyptians, they created massive structures and pyramids and were incredible astrologers and timekeepers. And they devised this Mayan calendar. Now there's a couple of different ones. So you've got the Guatemalan Mayan calendar, which is like the traditional Mayan calendar. And then the Mayan calendar that I use is the Dream Spell calendar, which was translated by a guy called Jose Iguales back in, like, I think it was 1970s, 1960s, 1980s, somewhere around that time. Jose Iguales, he brought, he kind of he took the Mayan calendar and made it more accessible to the Western mind. And that has been the calendar that I've been really drawn to. Some of my friends are really drawn to the Guatemalan, but that just hasn't resonated as strongly for me as the Dream Spell. So, yeah, I mean, the calendar's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And what's really curious for me is that a lot of people know about the Mayans now because of the 2012 prophecies.
Yeah.
And that was the Mayans, right? So it's this end of the world, because how the Galactic Mayan calendar works is there are cycles within cycles within cycles. So you've got 4-day cycles, red, white, blue, and then yellow. And then you've got like your wave spells, which are 13 days. So they build up and build up all the way up to like 21,600 years, I think is like one of the biggest cycles that we know about, or that I know about. And 2012 was the end of that cycle. So it
Mhm.
was like this big stop and restart, which for me was not the end of the world at all. It was just a transition into all of that we're experiencing right now, right? It's like this experience of transitioning into a totally new age. And it all coincides with the Aquarian age and just so much stuff that's coming up right now within the prophecies, and it's really
Mhm.
fascinating and interesting stuff. So yeah, they're just amazing, and I really have seen that they are, for me, like the timekeepers of the universe. You know, that they came and they dropped in these codes at
Mhm.
the within the Mayan culture
Mhm.
for us to find and discover. And the journey that I've been on with the calendar has just been incredible. um, and yeah, just it brings this sense of understanding for me of what's happening in the external world, what's happening in the internal world, what has
Mhm.
happened, gone by, what may be coming forward. Like, it's just, yeah, just really fascinating.
And we can all kind of get involved in this because we can figure out what our own signature is, which is a little
Yes.
bit like an astrology chart
Yeah.
mapping from when you were born. So
Yeah.
that can be figured out. There's websites where you can figure this out and you can find
Yeah.
out what your personal signature is. So you can see how that's flowing throughout the Mayan calendar and where you fit into the cycles and what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And on my on evolveby.design, which is like the little link that's on my usual reports, I've
Hmm.
pulled together some really basics of where to find your signature on there.
Mhm.
where to then take that signature and find a really detailed report that will tell you all about what it means to be a yellow sun or a blue monkey, and will kind of go into all of those details for you,
Mhm.
which can be a little bit like to begin with, because it's very cosmic language, and it took a little while for me to settle in. It's like even now I'll go back and read my report and I'll get new things and new insights will come to me. And then also just kind of like a downloadable calendar, and a little bit of an explainer, and some stuff just to kind of get you started.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's on evolve by.design. But yeah, there's plenty of information. There's Facebook groups. There's loads of stuff out there of super wise people that are sharing their insights around the calendar. One of the things I remember my teacher Joyti saying was, don't read loads of stuff about it. The calendar's there for you to explore within yourself. And I didn't really, I thought she was just being a bit awkward when she said it, because I was like, I wanted to read books because that's like my go-to. But I get it now. It's like the calendar reveals itself to you as you're going through your journey. And it's kind of fun that way when you have your own insights and explore it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real personal interaction with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to do the live reading for us in a second.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to invite anybody who's watching during the show today, if you've got any questions about the Mayan calendar, then please do get in touch. We've got Paul Baker, who's kind of manning the socials and can share with us. So if you have any particular questions at all, then please do. And yeah, I'm going to hand over to you, Christina, to do this week's live report and see what's going on now in the Mayan calendar for us all in the
Okay,
coming
great.
seconds. Thank you.
Okay, no problem at all. Okay, so the Mayan calendar this week. So today is a yellow lunar human day. And that's the second day of the blue monkey wave spell. So yesterday we went into the blue monkey energy. So this is really significant for a number of reasons. So firstly, the blue monkey wave spell is right at the center point of the calendar. So it's the number for that kin for that day is 131. Now the day before that is white cosmic dog. So the white dog energy is all about love and compassion and connection and loyalty. It's that real kind of loyal dog energy. And then the blue monkey energy is all around play and illusion and the divine child, like the inner child that's within all of us. And that point between those 2 days, Thursday and Friday, was the center point of the calendar. So it's right in the heart of the calendar. So I've actually got a calendar with me. So here, so you can see that you've got this beautiful pattern which perfectly looks like a DNA helix. And then at the moment, we're right down here. So this is where we are right now. And this is my very high tech way of keeping track of the calendar. So this is the blue monkey wave spell here, which is 131. And this one here is the white dog, which is 130. So here, this line right here is the center point. So we're right in the heart of the calendar. And it's almost like a journey through time with this 9-month process. And then you get into the heart of the matter. And the energy that's going to carry us out of this heart is the blue monkey, which is all about joy, play, cheeky monkey energy. It's really connecting into the divine child, opportunity for us to really work with and heal those tender parts within ourselves that are out of alignment with joy and fun and play. And all of that is going to just be coming up for us over the next 13 days. So this week, we're going to be in that energy all the way through of magical monkey energy. And today, Yellow Human is that chalice, it's that vessel, it's this beingness that we can navigate through this reality with, our free will, our connection to the earth plane. So yeah, that is going to be what we're going to be working with for this next week and well into the week beyond as well. So really opportunity for us to get paints out and put your hands in it and just allow those inner childs within us to just play. So yeah, that's my Mayan report for the week coming to you live. Oh, you're on mute, Charmaine.
Thank you so much, Darlene. That's great.
You're
That's
very
sounding really
welcome.
good. That's sounding like, funds on the cards.
Yeah,
And it's almost like on prescription in a way, like start, how do we tap into that energy and start bringing that energy out and have more fun and joy and
yeah,
that.
absolutely. I mean, it's the same with every single solar tribe. You've got the greatness within it. You've also got the vulnerability and the shadow aspects of it. So it's like if we're really feeling it, if our inner child is in a vulnerable place, then
Mhm,
it's an invitation to bring some play to help to transmute that energy. So there's
mhm,
always a healing opportunity within the galactic Mayan calendar. It's
mhm,
not like white mirrors can very often be. We've just been in white mirror for the last 13 days, right? So the white mirror can very often be cutting. It can very often be reflection. You think of like having the mirror put up at you. That doesn't feel like a comfortable thing for
mhm,
many of us. But
mhm,
actually, there's also a grace with it, and there is a beauty with it, and it's allowing the reflection of infinite timelessness to be seen as well. So
mhm.
it's there's always the two sides of things. But yeah, I think um, I mean, I am a blue monkey. I'm a blue resonant monkey. That is my sign. So it's like bringing in that play, bringing in that joy, um, and yeah, just allowing that to shine within us all.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, me too.
Uh-huh. And what else can people do, Christina? You've been on this kind of mission, and you've been searching through and finding out what fits for you. And I know you're very committed to the daily practice,
Yes.
which it kind of, that's what I wanted to talk about. It kind of, to commit to something like that means that we've got to spend this time on ourselves every day.
Yeah.
And when I shared that with clients and the importance of it, we have a conditioning around that being seen internally anyway as being selfish, and
Yeah.
that what we should be doing is doing more and fixing
Yeah.
more and these kind of things, and not wanting to be seen to be selfish, like it's kind of got a derogatory kind of connotation to it.
Yeah.
What would you want to say about that, and the kind of, how can we get around that, because it can be a real issue for
Yeah.
some people.
Yeah. No, I do. I get that.
Mm.
I don't have that problem at all. Um,
Did you
because
in
I
the
think
beginning? Did it feel like
yes, yeah,
self-indulgent to begin with?
yeah, of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think what helped me was beginning to understand, well, actually seeing the transformation within myself.
Hmm.
So the more that I would do my morning practice, the more that I could show up for my clients, I can show up for my friends, for my family, for
Yeah.
Daniel, so it became that it wasn't actually about me, it was about everybody else. I just needed to do my work so that I could bring the best me on that
Yeah.
day, because
Hmm.
I noticed how I would just be out of kilter if I didn't do it.
Mm.
Um, and
Mhm.
yeah, so I think it is a challenge to break through that barrier. But actually, it's that age old saying, isn't it? That you have to fill your cup first. So it's so overflowing that you can
Mhm.
then nourish everybody else. Like if you're
Yeah.
coming from a depleted state, you snap at the kids and you snap at your partner and everything gets on your wick, and it's
Mhm.
like you're not bringing your best energy into that moment.
Mhm.
So yeah, just that would be my suggestion, is to try and just twist it so that you realize that it isn't for you actually.
Yeah.
It's actually for your workplace, for your colleagues, for your clients, for your like it makes you show up to the world in a completely better way.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. And it's just finding your personal way of doing that. And I suppose that means different things to different people. It's
Yes.
really important to sort of meet ourselves where we're at. So, for somebody, the starting point might be just to start calming down and
Yeah.
just not to be so fraught and not to be so busy and running around, and starting to actually, even making 2 minutes a day can be a big deal when we're
Yeah.
in this kind of all this busyness and the illusion of that. So for some
Yeah.
people, that could just be a very simple, I'm just going to sit down for 2 minutes
Yeah.
and breathe.
Yep, I was just going to say that, like taking 3 or 4 conscious, deep breaths
Hmm.
can be enough,
Yeah.
and it's this practice of devotion to yourself, but then
Hmm.
to others.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like 3 hours. Like it can be I'm just gonna sit and I'm just gonna give myself a breath
Mm,
and being present in that moment. Um, or, just being really present. We were talking about spirituality, weren't we, when we were doing a satsang a couple of months ago? And
mm,
it's
mm,
like a spiritual practice could be just, I'm going to just sit in my conservatory with a mug of coffee or a tea, and I'm just going to watch the birds and I'm going to be present in this moment right now. And there's something really beautiful and so simple about that, but so often we're running around and we think that it has to be this big thing, but it's just
yeah.
meeting yourself where you're at, of
Yeah.
where you can. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just feeling into that, getting into the regular routine. I think that's nice, sort of being able to see it as actually you're doing this for others. Doing it for yourself
Yeah.
means that you're doing it for other people, because you can be more of
Yeah.
who you are. And we have a big issue with that, and being present and just kind of being still when our ego is frantically just trying to keep us distracted. And we could talk
Yeah.
about that all day and why it does that, but I think we're all contending with that, and that kind of pull away from peace and presence, and then just watch how life can sort of, yeah, just shift and just flow through us. And
Yeah.
that's really happened to you, to the extent that I know you and Daniel have kind of just offered up your lives to spirit, as it were, and you're off
Yeah.
on a big adventure. You're just gonna kind of let go and see what happens. What does that feel like?
Yeah. I mean, this is the biggest jump of trust and faith that
Mm.
we've ever embarked on. And Daniel's just like, I'm just going along with it because I'm really curious that it's coming from you. Which but yeah, so um yeah, it feels terrifying, especially with the global situation, right? Like we're
Mhm,
kind of like we've committed to leaving our house in November, and then we don't even know if we can get out of the country. So but it's just trusting that spirit will put us where we're needed and where it wants us, and we've been slowly taking everything online and gearing everything up, and just feel so supported. And yeah, and just how it all came together. So Daniel and I were talking about potentially leaving the country, and I actually was going back to India to go do some more training. This was all before COVID, right? So I
mhm,
was going back to India. I was going to be in India for just over 2 months, and then we were going to go to Thailand and have like a family holiday with his family. And then we were going to, Daniel had a speaking engagement in Miami. So we were going to be away for like 3 or 4 months. So I said, well, why don't we see if we could get someone to take care of the cat and look after the house, and we could stay a little bit longer. And then we were just having like a conscious dinner party at our house, and just this beautiful couple that we know really well. We're just like stroking the cat, and the cat's all like, oh, this is amazing. And
mhm,
they're like, oh, we love cats. We just really love to get a cat. But we're moving house in September, and Daniel and I were planning to leave in September. And so we don't know if we're going to be able to have a cat. And we are like, I think we need to have a conversation. And that was where it was all birthed. And then obviously Corona hit, but we just surrendered into that and just were like, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. If we're meant to stay, we'll stay. And if we're meant to go, we'll go. And every time I'd say we should really contact Alex and Gabby and just see kind of what's going on. The next day they'd message us. And, it was just like these synchronicities were just happening. So we're like, okay, we surrender. So yeah, it feels scary, but it feels really good, and got no idea what we're letting ourselves in for. I was on a meditation retreat the other week, and like the message was really clear that it's not going to be an easy journey, Christina. Don't think that you're just going to be swanning around the world having a nice time. Like there's going to be real challenges as well.
mhm, mhm.
But it's just in for a penny, in for a pound. It's just let's see what universe has in store for us. So yeah, it's exciting, nerve-wracking, all of the feels,
Mhm.
basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring just to completely let go and just see where you get led. I think is really, really inspiring. I've just got a little comment here on the chat from a viewer. To put my glasses on. 2020 marks our third ecliptic around the sun. where we can't see any more of our position in our solar measure from our solar standpoint of view. It takes 26,000 years to mark our equinox.
Amazing. Thank you for that,
Thank
John.
you, John Cooney. Yeah, thanks, John, for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
John.
it sort of really did herald a kind of a new beginning.
Yeah,
But Danny,
absolutely.
it's been wonderful chatting to you. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you so
Uh,
much.
How can people find you? How can we get the books and the
Oh, the
stuff? You've
book.
contributed to another book as well. And are you still running the 5.0 program? And what's going on? How can people get in touch?
Yeah. So Facebook is the best place to get hold of me at the moment. The You Are a Genius is out. It's on Amazon. That is a collaborative book that I wrote. Daniel and I co-wrote a chapter, and it's entrepreneurs sharing their stories around how they found their purpose. So it's a really nice read. You Too Can Bloom. I have been re-editing it since I released it in 2016. And that's going to be ready, and it's going to be out at the beginning of next year. So I will be posting on social media as we kind of get closer to that,
Maybe we'll get you back on. We'll get you back on the show for the
yeah,
relaunch.
from wherever I am in the world. So that's all good. Human 5.0, yes, it is still running. We are just shifting everything around at the moment, so that's going to be back up and live shortly. So yeah, but Facebook, I'm Christina Batty. Feel free to connect with me that way, or we have We Are Kotori, which is our business page, which is going to be building more and more as Daniel and I are growing, building our offerings and stuff. So yeah, but thank you so much. It's been so lovely, Charmaine.
It has been really, really lovely. And, big thanks from me and the team as well for your contributions every week. And, we just really enjoy that. And it's lovely to be able to share that info out there as well. So just huge, heartfelt thank you, Christina.
Thank you. And I love it. Like, sharing the Mayan calendar is a huge passion of mine. I don't know if I'll ever monetize it in any way, shape or form. It doesn't feel like it's that for me. It's just it's just offering and just helping people to connect with themselves in this different way. So yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right, Danny, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful. Now we're going to go and meet with Braden. He's chef, one of the chefs at Eastern Block on Stephenson Square in Manchester, and he very kindly offered to share how he makes scrambled eggs yesterday in a very hot kitchen. So big thank you to Braden, and I'll see you after this little clip. Thank you. Okay, and welcome everybody. Sorry, what? Okay, and welcome everybody. We are in the engine room of Eastern Block Records. Here's Jakob, one of the chefs. Say hi. Hi. And we have Braden here. And Braden, what are you going to show us how to make?
I'm going to show you how to make scrambled egg on sourdough toast.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great.
I've already got 3 eggs in here.
Yeah.
And I'm cracking another in.
Okay.
We're being generous today.
All right, we're having a 4-egg scramble. So just using the fork?
Yeah, fork. A whisk would be better, but if you haven't got a whisk, fork will do.
That's fantastic. Hey. Okay. So just eggs in there, nothing else. Yeah. You're just buttering your toast there.
Just getting that because the butter's straight out of the fridge, so we need to give it time to heat through.
Okay, that's lovely. So we're over to the pan now.
I've got some salted butter. I haven't seasoned the eggs.
So if you were going to season, what would you put in? Do you mean like with some salt and pepper?
I like to season afterwards with scrambled eggs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, salt and pepper. I prefer just. I prefer just salt.
Yeah.
At the end with some cayenne pepper.
All right.
That's just me there.
That's a nice little touch. Okay.
Right. Now this butter's not browning, so that's cool. We're going to go quick and silky smooth, hopefully.
So just pour it straight in.
Straight in.
Okay. Plastic.
Silicone spatula.
Now
if this was a bit hot, you're getting these curds.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see form.
Okay.
You just keep playing about with it.
Uh-huh.
You can let it go. It's like an omelette almost.
Okay.
Don't need to play with it too much, but you want to see the curds forming.
Mm-hmm. Looks good.
The pan should be a bit hotter.
Okay.
But it's fine. We'll leave it.
It's looking good. Okay. So I suppose, yeah. I mean, when I've made scrambled eggs, I've always got a bit stuck on the bottom of the pan.
Yeah,
So is the pan
will.
important and the silicone thing important for
If you've
scrambled
got a
eggs?
non-stick pan, that's preferable for scrambled eggs. These are a bit worn out.
Oh,
They're used
uh-huh.
a lot. But
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You'll lose a bit, but not
Yeah.
too much. And that's, for me, that's perfect because a lot of that wetness is actually coming from the butter. And it's
Right.
going to keep cooking whilst it stays in the pan. That
Okay.
residual heat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this bread. Oh, sorry, Jacob. No worries.
It's a bit busy in here today.
And then, awkwardly, I'm going to try and pour this on here. Sorry. Can you see
Great.
that?
Yeah, we can see that. It's
And
great.
that's a lot of eggs, really.
That is a lot
So
of
it
eggs.
would be,
But, you know, this is a luxury scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
It's 4 eggs.
And so you get the best of both worlds. It's quicker than standing over and slaving over meticulously
Mm-hmm.
getting those soft, gooey bits. But you got it in there, and it's buttery, and it's seasoned well.
It
Get
looks
some-
good.
Need some pepper. So I'm going to season that with pepper. You could add some chives. Got some parsley, sorry.
Gorgeous. Okay.
That will do. And then
Lovely.
That's, scrambled on sourdough.
Thank you so much. Brilliant.
welcome.
Perfect. And welcome back, everyone. And thank you to Braden for the little contribution. That's great. So, and thank you to Christina, who's left us now. That was like really wonderful. Thanks for the sharing. And I'm here now, joined by my second guest, who's joining us live from Bury, just up the road from me. And this is Angel Burns. Welcome to the show, Angel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for asking me. It's exciting, really
Very well.
exciting.
Very exciting. It is exciting. So, Angel, I came across your work on Facebook. We've got many mutual friends in common.
We do.
And I don't know when it was. It was a few months ago now. And I just saw that you were popping these posts up quite regularly. And I was instantly fascinated from somebody who can only just draw a matchstick man with a hat on. This kind of really incredible work. And perhaps we can just show some pictures of this. We've got a couple of pictures lined up so people can really get an understanding of what it is that you do. But it's the most incredible kind of face painting I have ever seen. Is that okay, Dee? Can we have a quick look at? I'll just talk while that's being sorted out. So I had to get in touch, had to find out more because, you know, I was realizing as well that there's a backstory to this. And this has been a very important part of your personal journey as well, doing this work, which I was even more intrigued about. So I'm not sure when those pictures are going to come up, but we'll carry on talking whilst we're waiting for that. So Angel, you're obviously an artist, obviously a really good artist. How did this happen? How did you come to realize that you could do this and that it was going to be so important to you? What happened there?
Well, it all started in October of last year. So it was about 10 days up to Halloween, and I was seeing a lot of makeup artists posting, you know, the Halloween makeup that they've got, and very scary, obviously, because it's running up to Halloween. And I just thought, I want to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try and do something very similar but different at the same time. So I just thought, I'm going to try and replicate artists on my face via face paint. And I started off very, you know, simple ones, and then it just progressed. So I did it for 9 days, and those 9 days were amazing. I've never developed so much personally within those 9 days in any sort of task that I've done before. You see, I was a very anxious person. Doing something like this now would have never have done. I wouldn't have even said yes. In fact, I wouldn't have even friend requested. It wouldn't have even happened. None of that would have happened. In fact, I remember deleting most of my friends on Facebook. I was just like, no, I'm going further in myself.
Yeah.
For those 9 days, I was stripping back layers of me, and it was something that I didn't expect was going to happen. It was a complete surprise, a complete shock, and it was so draining as that was happening that I didn't do anything for like until the 1st of December. So after Halloween, I couldn't pick up a paintbrush again. It was a proper reflection and proper time to just calm myself. It was a proper like, I cannot believe this has happened. And the transition in myself was amazing. And the thing is, I couldn't even pick up the phone to call the doctor, to call a dentist. I couldn't
Before
even
you
walk.
started, this is
Yeah,
where you were
this is
before
I
you started
started.
doing 9
So
days.
I couldn't even do basic everyday tasks without overthinking it. I would walk past the shop, going backwards and forwards, talking myself up just to go in to purchase something that I actually needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then 9 days later, I'm like, I've just picked up the phone. My car broke down, and I literally just picked up the phone and went, I need help. And that was the bombshell. I was like, oh, how's this happened? That I've not overthought it. I've not asked somebody else to do it for me. I've just done it. And it was that realization that actually those 9 days was a lot more to me than just painting on my face. It was much more than just doing a painting.
Wow. Well, let's talk about that a little bit more in a second. I'm just really keen for people to see some of this work. I'm just wondering if those pictures are ready now. You're actually going to do a live painting for us as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Really about. So yeah, apparently those pictures are, unfortunately I can't see which ones they are, but yeah, it really gives you a good flavour, a good understanding that you've picked really well-known artists, and kind of I wanted to ask you about that as well, like how you found those artists and how did they kind of materialize in your life, because the whole process is just absolutely fascinating. So you went through a big journey. It sounds like you were in a pretty dark place when you started out. There was lots and lots of activity going on in we might say the left hand side of your brain.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and for those 9 days, you dedicated that time to concentrating on yourself, because you have to look in the mirror to do this work.
Which is something I never used to do. I'm quite outdoorsy. I don't wear makeup very often. I have one mirror in my house, which is in the bathroom, and I literally brush my teeth in the morning and at night. So I don't find opportunities to observe myself or just look at my own skin.
Yeah.
So actually then, because when I first started doing this, they were taking up to about an hour to complete. So for those 9 days, I was looking not at myself, but through myself as well. And the people were saying they could see the shift in my eyes. The tension was dropping. And now looking back on some of those photos, you can see when I had tension, and you can see it shifting, and you can see happiness and joy coming in. And it's amazing how, for me, a very simple activity can be so huge in my life. And that's why I've continued, and I'm going to continue for as long as I can, and try and develop as many things to help as many other people, because I know it works. It's just amazing what it's done to me.
You've discovered something really, really unique and very powerful. And you could feel these different emotions coming through, like we're tapping into different parts of that emotional system. And I was wondering about how the artists themselves may have influenced that. What did you kind of channel or pick up about their personalities, and what it must have been like for them whilst they were at their canvases doing these paintings, and you're looking at yourself, and the reflection of that in the mirror. Did you get a sense of that and what that was like?
I did. It was some of them, like Paul Keel, for instance, I was doing one of his, that was in December, and I love the painting. Anybody that's been to art college or university, they study him. He's like one of the musts that you do. And I remember looking at this painting and not really thinking much about it, but it was a journey that he was making to go and visit his wife that had been sectioned.
Wow.
So for me then, painting this on my face, I was feeling the sadness that he must have gone through. I was seeing that there was a tree, so he walked past a park, but it's all abstract, so you don't really know that it's a map until you read up and find some of the history of it. And then having to go through that process of repainting it on your face, I just felt very sad during that process, and I could feel his sadness. And it was as if I was stripping that away from me by painting it on. And the thing is as well, it's not just the painting, it's the removing process as well. So once it's finished, I can't leave them on for that long. I did it once, and who did I do? It was a Clint one, but it was mostly green. And I found out then, because I didn't want to wash that one off because I thought it's beautiful. I love it. It's just, I love it on my face. And I had it on for about 20 minutes, and then I washed it off, and I still had the green dye on my face. So I was like, no, we need to wash it off straight away. So that process of just painting it and then washing it off, it's like removing what you felt through there. So Jenny Saville, she paints really huge portraits of mainly women or children, but it's very raw, very emotional. Whenever you see her work, they're very tall. They like go from ceiling to floor. They're really tall, in your face, raw paintings. So when I decided to not only just replicate, but actually change my face into one of hers. And that was really raw. It was like, I can explain it as in going into your skin and like going into like the muscles. That was when I first realized that something was going on, that I was drawing something out of me, and I was removing the layers that I'd built up. And that's when I realized that this is more powerful than just painting. It was more than just time for me. This is therapy. This is something that I'm healing by doing, and that's why I wanted to continue.
It's almost like the energy of the emotion from the artist is kind of resonating somehow with, you know, how that connects in you whilst you're painting it on, and then there's this kind of removal process. I mean, how does it feel after you've washed it off and taken it off? What's that? Do you feel that?
I do feel that, and it's really weird. I mean, there's been points where I've just felt very drained and just want to sit down and I can't do anything else afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
There's other times where I feel loads of energy and I just want to go out and do something. I'll go out for a very long walk and I'll just go, oh, I want to do another one now. I want to research. And it's really weird how each painting has their own personality. And it's really nice to see. Even the brush strokes, sometimes they take a long time and I'm going slowly with doing it, and other times I'm all over the place and the energy's coming through. It's a really nice process, and I really like that. I've just thought, I'm just going to do this idea back in October. I'm just going to do it for 9 days and let's see what happens. And it's just taken on a completely different life. It's amazing.
Wow, it is. It's really inspired. It is amazing. And how do you know which artist to do next? Do you just sort of get a sense of that? Do you find one of their paintings just crops up? Do you think they kind of whispered to you in some way? And has there been a kind of an importance in the order in which you've done this, do you think?
I actually think they find me.
Wow.
I really do, because I'm collating them all into a book at the moment. So I'm going back and I'm reflecting on each one. And it's very strange how they've also been what I've been going through. So for instance, within lockdown, I did a painter who he was forced to be in isolation for a period of time. And his father actually said, you are going to train to be an artist and you're going to sit there and you're going to do it in this room. And I was like, this is weird. I didn't even know this about this gentleman. And I was like, but I'm in isolation. I can't go anywhere. I live on my own. I'm like, this is so surreal that this has happened. It's amazing how, looking back, I'm like, I know why I chose that painting. I know why I've done that, and that stripped a layer of this, the walls that you build up to protect yourselves, which actually you're doing more harm, aren't you, really, when you build up those walls?
Absolutely, yeah. And you're collating a book, you're putting all this together in a book, and you're going to be sharing your healing journey within that as well to help other people.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite a unique art history book. So it's not going to be your normal, this is the painting, this is when it was made, this is my idea of why it was painted. It's also to do with their emotions of the artist, the emotions that what I went to, how it helped me. So it's more of a self-help with art history at the same time, because art does heal and it works and it's amazing. Even just a little sketch every day, that quiet time, 30 minutes. When people say they can't draw, like you said before, you can, everybody can. Everybody can do something. They can recognize a shape. If you say go and draw a square, everybody can draw a square.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it's taking that time out again. It's just tapping into what we were saying with Christina before about, you know, that commitment to ourselves. And that could be, a brilliant starting point for some people, just sitting down and doodling and drawing and getting into that other side of the brain, out of the thinking and the busyness, and just see what happens when we get into that.
It's a great way when you just doodle to actually know what you're actually thinking, because sometimes it just flows.
Yeah,
it's a great way with children as well. If you do with children, just give them a piece of paper. Don't tell them to draw anything, and you can read their minds. You can see what they're thinking, whether they're happy, whether they're sad. There's so much within a doodle.
Absolutely, yeah. Pure art therapy and drawing therapy. Fantastic. So you're going to do a little live sharing with us. Can you just walk us through what paints you use, sort of what, if anybody else might be wanting to try this, like what's the kit? What do they need?
Right. So I got the cheapest possible little watercolor set.
It's water.
It's a water-based one. I did try. I've got loads of light stuff all over it, but it's just really cheap. I think that was about £4, that one. It's just got all the different colours in it. I tried oil to begin with, but it wasn't drying, and I just felt that it kept moving. So this one dries quite quickly, and then you can add layers on top of each other. And it's really it's just like any other watercolour. It's really simple to use. Add water, you can change the colours around. See, some of these I've mixed. You see, that's supposed to be a bright orange, but I've added white to it, and they're all different colours. You look at this set, all crumbling. But that's what I use, and it washes off really quick as well. Just apart from the green dyes.
Okay. And do you have to prep your face in any special way beforehand? You wash your hands or anything? Just onto your face.
I just go for it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, darling. Well, I can't wait to see this. And when it's done, we'll have another little chat. If anybody's got any questions about this as well, that they might want to message in while Angel is doing this, then please do. And yeah, I'm going to hand over to you, darling, and watch your craft.
Thank you. I'll pick up my paintbrush.
So, Angel, darling, would you like to say something about the artist here, and a little bit about just a little bit about the process?
Okay, so the artist I chose for today is Chantel Joff. She was born in America, and she studied in the UK and now lives in the UK. She does a lot of portraits that I find the transition from adolescence to adulthood, and it captures that sort of going from innocence. You know, when a child realizes that there's more. So it's from, I think, late teenage years. And the one I'm doing is actually a painting of her niece when she was on holiday. And it's that where she sat on a pool. And the thing is, it's that look in her eyes. It's that knowing that she's no longer a child. But that definite transition of going from being innocent to knowing that there's more, getting those feelings. And I remember being very anxious as a teenager and very self-conscious. So for me, there's a lot that resonates in me.
I just want to say it's really therapeutic. Just
watching. It's weird doing it like this, though. It's very strange. I think because I'm sat down, I'm normally like stood up, so it's a bit strange, but it's good.
I'll leave you to it.
I think I'm done.
Ah. I feel like I've just had a therapy session. Right. Angel, have you got the painting there? Can we see that? Have you got?
Let me see if I can get it up on here. Yes, one moment.
Yeah, it's great. How did it feel? I was just wondering, like, whether it was tickling, what it was actually feeling like.
Yeah, it's very, very weird when it starts to dry, because right now it's a bit like having a face mask on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really weird when it's drying, because you do feel like you can't smile or you can't do some emotions. It's like I've got Botox or something like that. So there we go. There she is. Can you see?
Oh, wow. Ah, brilliant. Whoa. Okay. Fantastic.
And there
What's
she
the name
is.
of the artist? Who's that artist?
Chantal Jove. So yeah, so she was born in America, but she studied over in the UK and been here for. She's 50-year-old as well, so she's not old, but she's still around. She's still producing work, and she mainly does portraits.
Wow, amazing. So were you looking into a mirror all the way through that?
Yes.
Painting
Yes.
taken into your mind's eye the actual painting that you're copying, and what's that like for like reversal? Do you get like a kind of reversal effect with the mirror doing that?
Yes, so it's difficult. So if you can imagine, you've got the painting in front of you, and you have to flip it to then put it on your face. So it's like you're doing a mirror image. So it's not just painting it directly. So if I had painted this one, she would have been on the opposite side of my face if I'd just done it from what I could see. So you have to, in your mind, flip it over and do everything reverse.
Wow.
Which it's sometimes it is difficult to do that, because you're looking at something. So when I look at this painting now, she's on the right hand side of the sheet of paper there, and on the tablet that I've got. So I've got to sort of flip it in my own mind and then do it that way. It's yes. It gets a little bit stressful.
Yeah, it's just making me think about, when we join the right and left brain hemispheres, there's lots of tapping therapies and, drumming and that sort of bilateral stimulation. It's like it's connecting both sides, and we get a greater sense of harmony and peace and process. So I'm just wondering how that kind of lays into it. The neuroscience behind this would be absolutely fascinating.
Oh, it would, yes.
Delve into and research, wouldn't it? Be really interesting.
Definitely. That is something that I should actually go into, because I'm fascinated by that anyway. So yes.
Any neuroscientists out there who might be interested in exploring this, and give us a shout, because it certainly is powerful. Brilliant. So you're going to be putting this into your book with some of with this sort of artist history as well, which is great. Yeah. I can see there could certainly be room for workshops and other ways for people to get involved perhaps with this also into the future. So we'll watch out for all of that. When do you expect the book to be ready?
So it's going to be mid-September. So it's just going through the final draft. And so it's very exciting. So there's going to be 52 face paints in there. So it's 52 faces.
Right, okay. Great.
So yeah, it's amazing.
Well, keep us posted about that, so that when we can feature the book on here when that comes out. That would be great, and we can really support what you're doing. And I'm just intrigued before we close off, like, how are you feeling right now? What's it like? What's it like? You've got this on your face now, and what sort of came through?
It's very weird, because I can see myself talking to you. So it's very strange seeing the blues and the pinks and the greens on my face. I've never actually spoken to anybody like this before, so it's but no, after this one, yeah, I'm feeling a lot of joy actually, and happiness with this one. So yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but I suppose it is the transition though, isn't it? She was transitioning for adolescence to adulthood, so maybe there's a lot of releasing of any tension that I had back at when I was 15.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much, Angel.
Thank you for having me.
I think it's been a real pleasure, and thank you to everybody who's tuned in and everybody who's gonna tune in advance. I just want to say a little bit about what's coming up, what else is coming up on Naya TV. We've got our regular show, Bric-a-Brac Abundance, with Misha Sinclair and Robin Ellis, which is really good fun. It's brilliant, and that's on that live streams on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We have the test card, which is an experience, which is on every Thursday, every 2 weeks. And then on Friday evenings at 6 p.m., we're now streaming the Open Call Commissions. So that's a different show every week. Last week was What's in the Box, interactive game show, which looked like a lot of fun. This weekend, different vibe with this. We have, just checking here what it is called. Okay, so yeah, we've got I can't just see the name. Oh, here we go. This Friday at 6 p.m. we have a show called Feel Yourself with Savage Rose. It sounds brilliant. It's a burlesque show. And the focus is on body positivity and encouraging folk to explore sensuality from the comfort of your own home. That sounds really lovely. That's great. Of course, we'll be back next week, same time. Main guest isn't confirmed, but we've got joining us Andrew Mucher, who I think is the best guitar player in the whole wide world, and he's going to be joining us. He's also a homeopathic practitioner, I think, as well. It's going to be really interesting to talk to him. And if you go to the Nia Moss Facebook page, you can subscribe there to our YouTube channel, and we're listing on there previous shows as well. So please come and join us and subscribe and help get behind our work here. That would be really, really appreciated. So again, really wonderful show. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the people who messaged in. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend and see you all next Saturday at 10:30.